Boys and girls, here we are to analyze document 13 and 14. I'll show you what my findings were. Hopefully you'll find it helpful if you are viewing this. So let's start with document 13. I'll read it out loud. It's Joseph Hebegram's article to Sadler Committee. Sadler says, "What is the nature of your illness? I have damaged lungs. My leg muscles do not function properly and will not support the weight of my bones." Sadler, "A doctor has told you that you will die within a year. Is that correct?" "I have been told so." Did he tell you what the cause of your illness was?" "He told me that it was caused by the dust in the factories and from overwork and insufficient diet." "To what was your brother's death attributed?" "He was cut by a machine and he died of infection." "Do you know of any other children who died at the R mill?" "There were about a dozen who died during the 2 years and a half that I had been there. At the L mill, where I worked last, a boy was caught in a machine and had both his thin thigh bones broken, and from his knee to his hip the flesh was ripped up the same as it had been cut by a knife. His hand was bruised, his eyes were nearly torn out, and his arms were broken. His sister, who ran to pull him off, had both her arms broke and her head bruised. The boy died. I do not know if the girl died, but she is not expected to live. Did the accident occur because the shaft was not covered?" Yes. Clearly here, we get a very glimpse picture of a very grim situation that happened to child workers in the factory. There's nothing positive to be said about this at all. But here's the negative. We know that work in the factory caused several different problems. Number one, damaged lungs caused by dust floating in the air, which gave the guy about a year to live. Two, decreased leg muscle use from overuse and overwork. We know that his brother had been killed by a machine being cut. We know that there's been a dozen deaths in the mill. We know a boy was crushed and ripped apart by an uncovered machine, and his sister, who dived in to save him, his arm was broken as well. In addition, we are told the cause of this accident right here in the bottom, where it says the uncovered machine, the shaft, which moves up and down or side to side really quick, was broken. Excuse me. So there's document 13 for you, boys and girls. Here's document 14. We have a visual picture of this, the city, probably early 1800s. So very grim picture here. It's pretty dark. And one of the things that stands out to me is the proximity of the housing here, way down at the ground level. This might be what we would consider like an alleyway, okay, a place where you might not want to live because it's, the back of the house with limited scenery. I also noticed the black smoke coming from the train or the factory. I think it's a train, though, in the background. So let's analyze this. Positives. Obviously, we do have a train up here going across this bridge. A positive would be that we know that travel time goes down and because the speed with the train goes up. But we do get pollution from the train and the factories in the background. We see these slums, as they would probably be defined. They're right on top of each other, and overcrowding would most certainly occur. As we can see, there's a 1 to 2 foot wall in between them. Okay, with overcrowding in tight living spaces comes the risk of spreading disease and illness, including waste accumulation, whether it's garbage or feces, which is bodily waste. So think about COVID-19 right now that's going on in 2020, right? The closer we are to individuals, the faster it spreads. So without appropriate sanitary conditions and piping to get rid of waste like that and regular garbage pickup, that threat of disease would most certainly be present in these areas where these factory workers certainly lived. Okay, so that wraps up our analysis by me of document 13 and 14. And in the coming days, you're going to be looking at writing a claim and a counterclaim. All right, take care.